highly intact for doing the worldly vyavahara perfectly as well as spiritual sadhana perfectly. When we pray to the totality, to the Lord, surely, certainly, that Kripa comes to us, giving us strength to mold ourselves, to become qualified for Adhyatmic sadhanas. Om Bhadram Karnevihi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stuštuvagam Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti Nastarksho Arishtanemihi स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम शांति 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 ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्रा पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Tomorrow onwards we do Namo Brahmane. Om 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 Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः ॐ निधये सर्वविद्यानां विषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् ॐ जगतीमवितुं कलिता कृतयो विचरन्ति महामहसच्चलतः अहिमांशुरिवात्र विभासि गुरो भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तन्नमामि परब्रह्मणे श्रुतिमात्रे समस्त ब्रह्म विद्याचार्येभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो मुनिभ्यो गुरुभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमः। ओम श्री वेदव्यास वैशंपायने आग्निवल्क्य आद्य शंकरादि गुरुभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। तेषां सर्वेषां कृपानुग्रहेण उपनिषदुक्त ब्रह्मात्मैक्य बोधस्य अस्मिन् क्षणे एव अनुभवसिद्ध्यर्थं सनातनधर्मस्य वैदिकसंस्कृतेः हैन्दवसंस्कृतेः आध्यात्मिकजीवनस्य पुनरुत्थान पुनर्जागरण विश्वव्याप्ति द्वारा समस्त विश्व अध्यात्म प्रगति प्राप्त्यर्थम तदंगत्वेन शांति सामरस्य एकता प्राप्त्यर्थम तत्कृत समस्त साधक भक्तानां धर्म संस्थापन कार्ये दिग्विजयार्थम शत्रुघ्न निर्मूलनार्थम शक्ति साधना संपदा वाप्त्यर्थम श्री कृष्णयजुर्वेदांतर्गत तैत्तिरीय उपनिषदः अध्ययनं वयं सर्वे आद्यशंकर भाष्य समेत करिष्यामहे। ॐ यस्माज्जातं जगत्सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रणीयते येनेदं धार्यते जैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः। यैरिमे गुरुवे पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहं। तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते। ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मावादिशम् अरुतमवादिशं सत्यमवादिशं तन्मामावीत तद्वक्तारमावीतावीन्मामावीत् वक्तारम्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम अथ द्वितीया ब्रह्मानंदवल्ली। ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम अथ सप्तमोऽनुवाकः। ओम असद्वा इदमग्र आसीत् ततो वै सदजायत तदात्मानग्गः स्वयमकुरुत तस्मात् तत्सुकृतमुच्यत इति। यद्वै तत्सुकृतं रसो वै सः रसगह्येवायं लब्ध्वानन्दी भवति। को ह्येवान्यात् कः प्राण्यात् यदेष आकाश आनन्दो न स्यात् एष ह्येवानन्दयाति। यदा ह्येवैष एतस्मिन् दृश्येनात्म्ये निरुक्ते निलयने अभयं प्रतिष्ठां विन्दते अतसो भयं गतो भवति। यदा ह्येवैष एतस्मिन्नुदरमन्तरं कुरुते अत तस्य भयं भवति। तत्त्वेव भयं विदुषो मन्वानस्य तदप्येष श्लोको भवति। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। Friends, excellent Anuvakam, seventh one we are seeing there. So asadva idamagra asit tato vai sadjayata tadatmanagga swayam akuruta. The moment we chant this, all the three things before the manifestation of the Namarupa Jagat, Parabrahman was there. From him only the world came. He only appeared as this world. Then tasmata sukrutam uchyata. Thus the creation of Lord, everything is sukrutam only. Therefore he himself is called as sukrutam. And the one who is sukrutam alone is rasaswarupa. Rasagya hevayam labdvanandi bhavati. Because of his rasa only there is trupti and ananda. Then everybody is alive for this ananda only, for this Brahman only. Because without this Brahman, ananda swarupa in the heart, who will do inhaling, exhaling, means who will have even life lived. को हि एव अन्यात् कः प्राण्यात् यद् एष आकाशः आनन्दः न स्यात्. If this self is not there in the Akasha Hridaya, who will do the all the functions? So these statements have to be read in deep details. We have seen it yesterday, day before. Ki these inhaling and exhaling, all indriya prakriyas, antakarana prakriyas, one thing, they are working. Two, they are working in coordination with each other. Three, whenever some coordinated work happens by coordination between few things, it is for someone else other than that coordinate that assembly. So for whose sake and because of whose presence they are working. Because of whose presence, if we can analyze it, then for whose sake also we can understand. And in whose presence they are working, to know that in whose absence they don't work, we have to know. So it is the Chaitanya Atma in whose absence none of the faculties are working, individually or collectively. Therefore, because of whom they are working, Chaitanya Atma. Then for whose sake they are working, none of them are working for themselves. They are all together working for that Chaitanya Atma only. What is the meaning of working for that Chaitanya Atma is only to mean the presence of it, only to prove or the express the existence of the Paramatma Tattva, that the faculties are working together. Now, this is a very, very deep, subtle, impossible to understand thought. But if we can understand it, then the not necessariness of all sankalpa vikalpa in the antakarana level, to fulfill which, while struggling in the world, how we are going away from the Lord, all that is understood by us. Our faculties are working only to prove the presence of Paramatma. Our faculties are working only to prove the presence of Paramatma. Transcending the working of these faculties, when we reach to the self, we get liberated. Any other thing is the manipulation of the antakarana, which is a cause of all troubles or problems. This one simple thing, not knowing for such a long number of lives, we are just by becoming slave to this antakaranam are suffering in the world outside. From now onwards, let us try to live life like this. Nothing to be achieved through the faculties. They only are proving the presence of Paramatma. So by transcending those faculties or Panchakosha, I'll reach my own essential self. Remove the importance of any other projects in life. Only for this, when we work, then not only we recognize the self, it is infinitely blissful. Therefore, all the running in the world as samsari, that also is avoided. So, ko hevanyat ka pranyat yad esha akasha anandha nasyat. Then esha hi eva anandayati. So, these whether they are any successes, any indulgence in the objects, all of that is basically Brahma Ananda. But vibhavyate parichinnahiva, it is being considered and obtained in a limited form through the limited resources. Through the means by the medium of. Through the it is so wonderful. By itself purely the Brahma Vastu, if we touch, how great would be that bliss. We have to like that think and inspire ourselves. Slowly, somehow in our life a day should come, a day should come, a stage should come wherein somehow means kya? Guru Kripa, Bhagavad Kripa, our effort. Ki, right now, to my only mission of life is to discover that Upanishad said Brahman in my own heart. देखो एक बार उस मिशन में हम बैठ जाते हैं ना, सारे मेहनत ऋषियों का गुरुओं का हमारे लिए यही कराने के लिए है कि गेट कमिटेड इनटू द डिस्कवरी ऑफ द सेल्फ, बी द सीकर ऑफ ट्रूथ, बी द सीकर ऑफ द ब्रह्मन, बी द सीकर ऑफ सेल्फ, नथिंग एल्स. If that happens, we are the luckiest ones. And that should be continued, maintained, sustained. Truly, we have to do that only. नॉट दैट सोच तो लिया ब्रह्म प्राप्ति का कोशिश की, लेकिन प्रयत्न तो और जगत का हो रहा है, देन इट इज नॉट ए कंप्लीट मेच्योरिटी. इज इट नॉट? जस्ट इमेजिन दैट स्टेट ऑफ माइंड फ्रॉम मॉर्निंग टिल इवनिंग, not entangled in anything else, only in pursuit of Brahmavastu. You understand? Finishing whatever obligations, duties, then embarking on doing some exercises, subtle ones, with which the faculties are modified, beautified, and then see that camped army persons and all. Just they go for their marches and drills and get commands from the officers, go on to the borders protecting the nation. No, no other thought in their mind. How wonderful is. Same way, all other things are nothing but giving the miseries. Even if we achieve them, they only leave us in the emptiness. Let us only pursue this Brahma Tattva, this type of strong thought when it comes. And we adjust ourselves, as just now said, with all preparations, with all our empowerments, through japa, through upasana, through prayer, थ्रू सेल्फ विल, सेल्फ कमिटमेंट कि मैं उपनिषद पढ़ूंगा, उसके मंत्र का अर्थ दृढ़ कंप्लीट समझूंगा, देन व्हाट इज सेड इन दैट, दैट ब्रह्म वस्तु इन द रूप ऑफ सत्यम ज्ञानंतम और अदृश्यम अग्राहम इत्यादि, आई विल रियलाइज इट इन माय हार्ट. I discover myself to be that. This way, other than this, nothing is important. When that stage we come to, that's the most fortunate thing. But the vasanas, the mind, they pull us so much into world just to take us away from truth. है कि नहीं? हमारे सारे व्यवहार का एकमात्र फाइनल फल है कि टेकिंग अस अवे फ्रॉम द ट्रूथ, द रियलिटी, एंड गिविंग अस प्रॉब्लम. इज इट नॉट? ऐसी बात अगर दिल में बैठ गया मानो, वैराग्य विल बी इजी, एफर्टलेस. है नहीं? सुबह उठा राइट टाइम पे, डूइंग योर साधनास, डे टाइम सम उपासनास, आगे साधना, एक के बाद एक दिन इसे ही अद्भुत रूप से चलना चाहिए. एंड प्रोटेक्टिंग आवर हेल्थ बेसिकली, दैट इज हाउ द लाइफ शुड बी लिव्ड. आई एम टॉकिंग ऑन दैट फॉर दिस सेंटेंस, एष ही एव आनंदयात्. The Parabrahma only giving Ananda. But we are experiencing that Ananda only in the Parichinna Iva, through the medium. Directly, Pratyakshena, if you experience it, it is infinitely blissful. Okay? Now, next one, the Bhaya discussion we are doing, which is the very essential topic in our life as well as spiritual life. See how many fears we are endowed with throughout the day. And they will continue as long as we continue to be the Jiva. Only way to come out of the fearlessness is to discover our own true nature. First of all, वो ब्रह्म है कि नहीं? This basic doubt we have. So this Upanishad is using all the probable discussions, etc., to prove the presence of the Brahman. And to a great extent, it has succeeded in its explanation. Whether we have succeeded in our understanding and accepting or not, it is in our hands. It is we who have to check ourselves. Ki after so many of the logic, so many of the quotations, have we got the sequence of these 4 or 5 things clear in our mind? First, Brahman is there. Second, He alone is there. Third, He alone is permeating everywhere. Four, the discovery of Brahman alone is the discovery of the truth, thereby giving the liberation from all pursuits and all. Fifth point, that Brahman is to be discovered in the cave of our heart. Sixth, as our own self, as Satyam Jnanam Anantam. आर वी क्लियर अबाउट दिस 6-7 थिंग्स? अगर है ना, तो हमको शास्त्रों का समझदारी हो रहा है, समझ हो रहा है. वी आर रियली अंडरस्टैंडिंग शास्त्रास. And then do only this. Once we are convinced about it, let us try for this only, nothing else. So this fearlessness is the most beautiful thing in life. That ब्रह्मज्ञानी का जो निर्भयता जो है, अभयम अभयम. Anybody other than is bhaya only. All the jivas in bhaya of something or the other all the time. That Vairagya Shatakam says, no? Bhoge roga bhayam, kule chuti bhayam, mane dainya bhayam, vitte nrupalat bhayam, kaye krutantat bhayam, rupe jaraya bhayam, then shastre vadi bhayam, bale ripu bhayam. Everything, sarvam vastu bhayanvitam bhuvi nunam. Only the vairagyameva bhayam, and through that vairagya, when the self is discovered, total abhayam, fearlessness. Great joy it is, fearless. Fear of death, fear of deception, fear of misery, all that are troubling us. No, who is doing research on these subjects, Batao, except spiritual seekers? Everybody is doing all other researches, which are adding to the fear only. बिकॉज इट इज ऑल इन द द्वैत प्रपंच. द्वैत प्रपंच में आप जितना भी कोशिश करके जितने भी चीजें पाओ, डिस्कवर करो, दे आर ऑल इन द्वैत, देयरफॉर देयर इज अ फियर. As long as there is a fear, you have not achieved the ultimate. Fear is misery. Therefore, the only thing which gives the bliss is fearlessness. The only thing which gives fearlessness is the discovering of Ekameva Advayam Brahma in our own heart, as our own self. Thereafter, everywhere, same thing. So, bhaya bhaya hetutvat vidvad avidishoho asti tad brahma. So, for the vidwan, be attentive. Abhaya hetu. For the avidwan, the bhaya hetu is the same Brahman. Same Brahman alone is the cause of fearlessness to vidwan, cause of fear to the avidwan. Because of these two things, the Brahman is there, the अस्तित्व of the Brahman is established. और एक बार साबित किया गया. How कि सद्वस्तु आश्रयेण ही अभयम भवति. Is it not? The Vidwan knows the Sadvastu existing, and in its ashraya only he becomes fearless. Who is a Vidwan? Who has understood the Sadvastu, and he has got his ashraya in that. Because it's Sadvastu, not Asadvastu. How can the Sadvastu give fear? Truth is not the fearful thing, no? It's a fearlessness. So therefore, Sadvastu ashrayena hi abhayam bhavati. So he, the Vidwan, takes the ashraya of Sadvastu, and therefore he is fearless. Second is what? The other way around. Fearlessness, how can it come from the Asadvastu? Is it not? Fearlessness cannot be from the support of Asad. And this Brahmagnani is fearless. Therefore, the Brahmagnani is fearless. Fearlessness is from Sadvastu. Therefore, the Jnana of the Brahman which he has got, it's a Sadvastu. Therefore, it is Asti. मतलब उसको ऐसे रिलेट करके बोलना. So, from the Asadvastu, fearlessness will not come. From Sadvastu, fearlessness will come. The Brahmagnani is fearless. Therefore, the Sadvastu must be Brahman. Therefore, Brahman is Sat or Asti. Established. In the same way, na asadvastu ashrayena bhaya nivrutti upapadyate. As so, from the support of non-existing thing, the fear cannot be removed. Yesterday we gave the example of the mother and child. So, the child is frightened and the mother never came. So, without the mother, asadvastu ashrayena, will the bhaya nivrutti happen to the child? Never. On the other hand, the moment mother is there, Sadvastu, fear is gone. So in this way, Bhaya Hetu is the absence of Sadvastu. Why? Because he is not believing in it. Who is he? Avidwan. Again I am saying, for an Avidwan, he is in Bhaya because he is in not the Ashraya of the Sadvastu. Sadvastu is Brahman. He doesn't know it. That is why he is called Avidwan. Again, he is holding on to Asadvastu. Asad will always give Bhayam only. Clear? असद वस्तु नामा कुछ होता नहीं. असद वस्तु मीन्स सद वस्तु को नहीं मानना. Therefore, not believing in the self is a cause of fear for the avidwan. Believing in the self is cause of fearlessness for vidwan. Therefore, fear for avidwan, fearlessness for the vidwan. Both are caused by the Brahman. In the sense, the vidwan by recognizing that Brahman is fearless, avidwan by not recognizing Brahman is fearful. But for both of them, Brahman is the cause, direct or indirect, for fear or fearlessness. Therefore, that cause of fear for the avidwan, that cause of fearlessness for vidwan, called as Brahman, asti, is there. So, katham avaya hetutvam iti uchyate. The mantra says the avaya hetutva, and means katham here means how that with the help of the Brahman we can reach to avayatva. He alone is the cause of fearlessness. A great, important topic. As I discussed yesterday, we discussed, sigh of relief comes to us if we can get digesting of this particular thought. Most crucial, most beautiful. It is as good as equivalent as the children telling the parents, a matured, highly matured children, oh mother, father, if you are not there, what would have become to our life? Like orphans would have been thrown somewhere else. It is you whose presence has made our lives meaningful. When the children say, In the same way, parents saying, "Oh, my dear children, when you call us as mother or father, that fulfillment is so glorious. The joy when the offsprings call parents with such a love, that only those parents know it. So you also fulfilled our life." The parents say, in the same way, if this one thought clicks of this shloka, there is a fulfillment in spiritual understanding. सिद्धि तो साधना के बाद ही होगा. There is no other alternative. But to do the sadhana, the inspiration is from clear understanding and conviction. This particular portion has to be clearly understood and get convinced. Every one of us. बहुत चीज़ें हम सुन चुके हैं, पढ़ चुके हैं, भूल भी गए हैं, कभी को याद आते हैं. बट ये वाला जरूर हमको अच्छी तरह समझना. वेरी वेरी थिंग, है ना, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Let us chant it. First, यदा ह्यैवैष एतस्मिन् दृश्येनात्म्ये निरुक्ते निलयने भयं प्रतिष्ठां विन्दते हतसो अभयं गतो भवति. यदा ह्यैवैष एतस्मिन् उदरमन्तरं कुरुते अथ तस्य भयं भवति. तत्त्वेव भयं विदुषो मन्वानस्य तदप्येष श्लोको bhavati. From the shloka's meaning along with main understanding, so many corollary understandings which help us in our life, they also can be culled out. All of that, if we remember, we'll share with. But the main mantra. Now the main mantra, literal meaning, then the Bhashyam meaning, today we'll exhaustively study. Literal meaning is what? Ki yada hi. Yada means whenever. Yada yada hi dharmasya. Eshaha. Esha means this adhyatmika sadhaka jivaha. What is he doing? Etasmin. Etasmin. In this. Abhayam pratishtam vindate. Establishes in him with the unison or oneness. In this what? In this Atma, which is explained here with the 4 or 5 qualities. Adrushye, Anatmye, Anirukte, Anilayane. In this Paramatma, when he Abhayam pratishtam vindate, he establishes in it with unison, oneness. Result is Saha Abhayam Gataha Bhavat. Once for all, he has got Abhayam, fearlessness. Nothing can frighten him further. Contrast picture is more important to convey this point strongly. The contrast picture is Yadahi, opposite of what is said earlier. Eshaha, again, same you and me, the Jivas, Etasmin. Etasmin again, Etasmin Adrushyanatme. In that Atma, Ut Aram Antarang Kurute. For any reason, little bit of the Antaram, the gap or the distance or difference, he maintains. Whatever the reason, now mind you, Atha Tasya Bhayam Bhavati. He begins the fear. Now the fear is the biggest misery. Everything gained, but fearlessness has not come, so you have not liberated yourself. You are still in the bondage only. Okay, this is the meaning. Tattu eva bhayam vidusha amanman. A person who is very vidwan, he thinks, but not identify the Brahman. From that Brahman only there is a fear to him. Brahman is not frightening. He will not frighten us. But not knowing him, seeing the duality, seeing separation from him, we only are afraid of each other. See how cute and subtle this thought is. We may be 10 people, but for some reason we bring that oneness mano hamare andar in between us. Then there is no fear. But for some mental problem, some fear is, some difference is created mano hamare beech mein, then all peace of mind goes. Fear starts happening. Sense of insecurity happens. Even in Vyavahara also. Is it not? That's how in every of their mutual relations, they try not to bring that difference. They say the person is important, not the issue. Therefore, they go on foregoing those issues or even losses of money, etc. The person is. Like the child has wasted some 10,000 rupees. Child is important. Therefore, thoda scold to karenge, but we don't give him up. We want the oneness with the child. Is it not? Vyavahara. Here also. So, simple thing. on this Brahman with you. I and am and the self with these qualities. When I have identity with it, there is no bhayam. When I maintain my separation from that Brahman, even little, I start getting bhayam and misery. That's called samsara. In expanded manner, the whole world also should not be seen as other than that Brahman, which is already seen as me. If that whole world also seen as other than Brahman, then there also with the world there is raga, dvesha, adi, then there is a bhayam. This is the meaning of this sloka. And the whole bhaya and samsara, therefore, for time immemorial, we are having. Not for any main reason. Secondary reasons maybe second later on. But they're all for the only main reason is we have kept ourselves away with our from our identity with the self. ये कितना important part है जिंदगी में देखो. मतलब क्या हुआ? You earn everything of the world. Okay, बड़ा बड़ा सब. But फिर भी you have not discovered that satyam jnanam anantam brahma identity. Anirukte anilene anatme. If identity is not gained, then that individual who is isolated from Brahma Tattva. So remember, isolation from Brahma Tattva, separation from Brahma Tattva is not there is a Brahma and therefore I am separate from him. Like in the human relations, you are one person, I am another person. We got a misunderstanding, so I have isolated you, myself from you. ऐसा नहीं है ब्रह्म के साथ. It is only the refusal to identify with the Brahman, non-effort to identify with the Brahman, disinterestedness in identifying with Brahman. It is me only, लेकिन हम ठुकराते हैं अपने आप के स्वरूप को ही. There is nobody called as Brahman other than me that I have to jump in him and become one with him. It is already me, but I don't want to know, or I am not able to know, or I have not tried to know. Therefore, there is a feeling that that is not me. That is called separation here. That separation creates the fear. Whatever you have achieved in the world. But still, if you are away from the Brahma Vastu, fear. On the other hand, whether you have gained something or not in the world, if you have discovered oneness with the Paramatma, अवे प्रतिष्ठां विदते भगवन् तक्षकादिभ्यः मृत्युभ्यः न बिभेमि अहम्. See how terribly, ferociously, with full inspiration and joy, Sri Parikshit ji talks these last words to his guru. Takshakadibhyah mrityubhyah na bibhemi. Why? Because abhayam padam darshitam tvaya. That one without second truth, that identity is shown by you. I have established in that. Pravishtoham. Same thing Guru also said, Shukadev ji. है ना मृत्युवो नोपदक्षन्ति मृत्यु नाम मृत्युमीश्वरम. You are the mrityu of all mrityus. How can any mrityu touch you? See that? How beautiful coordination, evening Bhagavatam and this Upanishad. Now let us see after having the meaning understood. Again I am repeating, how much ever things we achieve of the world, if we continue remain as an isolated jiva, not identifying ourselves with the adrushya anatme anirukte anilayane brahmavastu, then we are always in fear. Fear causes miseries. Fear causes all samsara. On the other hand, nothing we got, but we have discovered our oneness with Parabrahma. Then all fears go away. Nothing can frighten us whether we have something or not. Because Brahman is Sadvastu, therefore fear of death goes away. He is Chitvastu, therefore fear of deception goes away. He is Ananta and Ananda, therefore the fear of limitation or misery goes away. These are the three fears because of which every human being is struggling in the world to come out of and to bring some solution to come out of these fears. है कि नहीं? मरना डर है, देखो नहीं मरने के लिए लाख कोशिश कर रहे हैं हम, है कि नहीं? चीटिंग डर रहे हैं हम, इसलिए नहीं चीट होने के लिए इतना ज्ञान पाने का लाख कोशिश. Fear of misery. So to avoid the misery, how many objects, how many amenities, how many scientific discoveries we are going on doing only because of the fear of misery. That I may be miserable because of this reason, that reason. So entire world work of all human beings on the whole universe are only to avoid these three. Common thing is fear, fear of these three things. Fear of death, fear of cheating, fear of misery. These are the only things. There is no fourth thing. Now, these things, the fear of death, deception, and misery can never go away when we are in the upadhis. Because upadhis die. When they die, they are cheating us. When they are cheating us, they make us miserable. But the Brahman is deathless because he is Satyam Vastu and his consciousness and is infinite. There is no finitude. When there is infinite, then where is the misery? है ना, जिसके पास 1000 है उसमें 500 गया तो he'll be miserable. जिसके पास 1000 करोड़ रुपए उसके 10 रुपए गए मानो, I will become miserable. अनंत में दुख नहीं रहता. Is it not? Infinite I have there. There's no problem. Clear? Like the ocean says, take water from me. Infinite is ocean. Therefore, when the sun takes some water to make a cloud, सूर्य भगवान समुद्र कहते हैं कर लो, कुछ भी खत्म नहीं होता मेरा, मैं तो इन्फिनाइट हूँ. In that way. So, यदा हि एव एतस्मिन् अदृश्ये अनात्मे अनिरुक्ते अनिलयने अवय प्रतिष्ठां विन्दते अतसो अभयङ्गतो भवति. यदा हि एव एष एतस्मिन् उदरम् अन्तरं कुरुते अत तस्य भयं भवति. तत्तु एव भयं विदुषा मन्वानस्य अमन्वानस्य तदपि एषः श्लोकः भवति. To substantiate this also there is mantra. Now let us start seeing this mantras bhashyam. Okay, one by one. Here that adrushye, anatme, anilayane, anirukte words are there na. उनको भगवान sequentially comment करते. That gives a beautiful understanding about Brahma Vastu. So consciously, carefully, let us try to listen. So yada hi eva means yasmatu. Yasman means if this cause is made in you. That means whenever it happens. Yada agar ye ho paya to. If at all one achieves this. Yasman means because of this reason. Same meaning. Esha kaha sadhakaha. You and I. Etasmin brahmani. Etasmin means what? Brahmani. See, when that sadhaka in this Brahman. What in this Brahman? It will be told. Before that, etasmin brahmani. Kim vishishte? Kim vishishta brahma? That he'll have to find identity, therefore there is no fear. So the Brahma Visheshas are told here. So yada means yasmatu, yasmin kale, eshaha sadhakaha, etasmin means Brahmani. Now kim vishishte Brahmani? Which Brahman sir? Explanation. Adrushye. So because Shruti Mata has given the Lakshana of the Brahman as Adrushya, Anatma, Anirukta, Anilayana, Bhashyakara will do the commentary. He is there for commentary only. So what is the meaning of Brahma's Lakshana? Adrushya. Adrushya means Drishyam Nama Drashtavyam. Be attentive. Very, very cute, very subtle they are. I know 99.9% of you are not will not understand it. Those who try, they only sleep. But if you have very good tuning, consciously listening, you will catch. One, Adrushya means to explain Adrushya, first Drishyam is explained. Drishyam nama Drashtavyam. देखा जाता है. And anything Drishyam or Drashtavyam, Vikaraha. Because Darshanarthatvad Vikarasya. Because anything you see, you are seeing it modifying. Be attentive about it. Any modification we see. See ना, कोई कुछ चीज चेंज हो रहा है विकारित, we are seeing it. Conversely, whatever is seen by us is विकार युक्त. चेंज हो रहा है उसमें, एक ही तरह नहीं रहता वो. So the word to be explained is adrushya. How it is explained now? First drushya is explained. Drushya means drashtavyam. Drashtavyam is vikaram. Okay. Drashtavyam vikaraha darshanarthatvad vikarasya. Because anything vikara is seen by us and anything seen by us is going through vikara modification. So drishyam is explained this way. Then what therefore is adrishyam? Adrishya means what? Not vikara jatam. Therefore, what it is? Avikari. So, therefore, though the word is used as adrushya for Brahman, the deeper meaning of it through the analysis is avikari. जनरली अदृश्य मतलब जो नहीं दिखता है, ऐसा हम डिसाइड कर लेते, is it not? And it is prevalent also this meaning so many times that Brahman is non-perceivable by any of the faculties. तो वो लगता है कि एक comfortable definition है ना. अदृश्य means non-seeable because many times we know Brahman is not an object of any of the sense organs or faculties. But here the meaning is different. Adrishyam indicating अविकारित्वम. बिकॉज अदृश्यम को समझाना है तो पहले दृश्यम को समझो. दृश्यम इज विकारित्व. ओके, एनीथिंग वी सी इज विकारी, एनीथिंग विकारी वी सी. सो देयरफॉर अदृश्यम इज नॉट दृश्यम, अविकारी, not vikar. Therefore, the word used is adrishyam, but the meaning should understood as avikari. Therefore, the self in us, which is never changing, never modifying. And the common sense is what? Ki I, the drashta, always is a avikari. Therefore, that is why I am able to see the drishyas as vikara going on changing. This thing we discussed yesterday exhaustive in our Mundaka Upanishad. देखो, I am drashta, which I am not the jiva. That jiva me, the jiva aham in me is also vikari with every experience. Like when I am in Jagrata Avastha, my identity is Jagrat Purusha. But this fellow is not there in dream. That is Swapna Purusha. And both are not in sleep. This is Sushupti Purusha. Other than these three, there is somebody, the pure Chaitanya Atma. That is what is spoken here as Adrushya is equal to Avikar. Unmodified. Avikar. We explained yesterday in this class, other also, the body is changing from the childhood to the old age, but this conscious self in us is Avikar. So the mind is changing every moment. Intellectual concepts are changing. Faculties are changing. Everything is vikaravan. But the conscious self is avikari, in and through all. That avikaritva is the meaning of the word adrushya. So when we get identified with this adrushya or avikari atma, then we are fearless. That is the whole meaning of the shloka. वी आर नॉट कंप्लीट, बट पहले बता रहे ताकि आपको डाउट कंफ्यूजन ना रहे कि क्या बात बोल रहे. बिकॉज शंकर भाष्य एंड श्रुति माता ओनली टिल द एंड व्हेन यू रीच दैट यू अंडरस्टैंड. शुरू में आपको कुछ कुछ जगह पे लाइक दिस नो और हाफ हो जाता है सेंटेंस एज इफ नॉट अंडरस्टूड. देयरफॉर एंड वाला बात हम पहले बताकर पॉइंट क्लियर करते हैं सो दैट यू हैव नो डाउट. So yada when etasmin in this brahmana, in which brahman etad lakshana yukta, among those lakshanas, first one is adrushya. Adrushya, drushya nama vikaram. So adrushya means avikaram. So for when this sadhaka on this adrushya brahma gets oneness, establishes, then his bhayam goes away. Avikari, because vikar में ही भय होता है. Vikara is change, vikara is modification. All the sense of modification, sense of change is giving sense of fear. When there is no change or modification, fearlessness. So you understood the Brahman, Avikari is equal to Adrushya. When we identify with him, there is no fear. Other than Brahman, Avikari, Adrushya is Vivikari, Drushya. That is Dehadi Upadi, Nama Rupa of the Jagat, I, the ego. With this Drushya, Vikari, when I identify not fearlessness or abhayam, but fear, the bhayam will come. Is it not? This is what is the spiritual way of looking everything at everything. We think I am afraid of that fellow. You're not afraid of that fellow. You're afraid of the sense of difference, sense of otherness. Of which self that the self in him and self in you are different. So too your fearlessness, fearless with a person. Not because that person is your friend or near to you. It is because you have identified oneness with the self in him. Keep it in mind, these thoughts. So adrushye, drishyam nama vikara jatam, adrushyam is avikari. Okay, esha sadhaka etasmin brahmani kim vishishte avidrushye drishyam nama drashtavyam vikaraha darshanartatvad vikarasya na drishyam adrishyam avikara ityartah. Therefore, adrushya is equal to avikara, unmodifying. On that Brahman, when you have identity, there is no fear. That is the concluding sentence. Up step by step. Second one, ki, therefore, etasmin adrushye avikare avishaya bhute. Keep this mind in the thought in the mind. In this adrushya vastu, that means avikara vastu, means that which cannot be vishaya. देखो कितना बढ़िया सा है this guidance. Upanishadic guidance, if we are tuning, sharpens our intellect and takes us to such a beautiful level of maturity. See that, how Shankara Bhagavan's subtlety. Earlier he said, Drishyam Nama Drashtavyam, then Vikaraha, then Darshanartatvad Vikarasya. All the Vikara is seen, all seen is Vikara. See now the three things. The mantra used in the Upanishad is Adrushya, word used. Bhashyakara, by saying that Drushya is that which is Vikari, therefore, if he is not, if he is Adrushya means he brought it to Avikari. Therefore, Adrushya is called Avikari. And then the other thing is what? Anything which is other than self, others, as which is an object, is always as Vikara Yukta. Therefore, Adrishyam is equal to Avikaram is equal to Avishayabhutam. Avishayabhutam means that which is not the object. What is that which is not the object? Subject only. See, Adrushya, from that he derived or gave the meaning as Avikari. From the Avikari, he gave the meaning Avishaya. Avishaya means not an object. If it is not an object, what it is then? Subject only. So Adrushya is equal to subject. The self, which cannot be objectified. So Adrishya means Avikare, means Avishaya Bhute, therefore Swatmani. This is how Adrishya explained. Second one, Anatme. Here Anatma means not that he has no Atma. Anatma, here Atma means Sharira. Anatma means Asharire. That which is not gross or Stula, Sharira, Yukta. That Paramatma is not a Sharira that it gets modified. Sharira all the time exposed to variety of the Panchamahabhutas with which it is made. It's going on changing. So Anatme is equal to Asharire. Okay. Anatme Asharire. Now listen. Yasmat Adrishyam Tasmat Anatmyam. है कि नहीं? Because it is not Drishya Vastu. Every Drishya is Anatma. Shariram is not Drishyam Adrishyam. Therefore, it is not the Stula Atma or Sharira is Anatmyam. Yasmat Anatmyam Tasmat Aniruktam. Third one. Because it is not the Stula Deha, therefore Aniruktam, it cannot be talked about in the language of size or shape, etc. etc. Follow the sequence of the sentences, which is very contemplative. That's why I said, ye wala last wala gamasan hai. Very, very contemplative. If one can do that contemplation and derive the deeper meanings about the self, it will be of highest help for meditation. Main sentence of this sentence is, in this Brahma, whoever finds oneness, he will be fearless. That is the main thing. In this Brahman, who finds oneness is fearless. Whoever finds little difference is of fear. ये है मेन दोनों सेंटेंस. बट विच ब्रह्मन ही इज एक्सप्लेनिंग टू अस. श्रुति माता ने ब्रह्म का लक्षण बताया, उनको बहुत सीरियसली लेकर भगवान शंकर इज एक्सप्लेनिंग टू अस इन हिज भाष्य. And that seriously spoken explanation, if we seriously study, it clears so many doubts regarding Brahman and all. First thing is Brahman is Adrushya. Therefore, he is Avikari. Therefore, he is not Vishaya, he is Avishaya. Therefore, he is what? Vishayi, Avikari, Druk Swarupa. So, Adrushya is equal to Druk Swarupa, is equal to Avikari, is equal to Avishai. is a subject, non-modifiable, non-seeable. Because is subject, non-modifiable, non-seeable, is not like an object which is seeable, perceivable. And seeable, perceivable is the sharira. Here sharira is called atma. Therefore, that which is not in the form, in like a sharira. Sharira means not having any solidness, which is going through the modification, which is objectified, drishya. And anything drishyam, it is nashvaram. We are not talking about that drishya dehadi. And because of these two reasons, one is not an object, it is a subject. Not a modifiable, it is unmodifiable. Not sthula, but it is very, very sukshma. Therefore, aniruktam, it cannot be talked about or described. Anirukte. And because of these three reasons, this Parabrahman need not have any particular abode to stay. Only a solid, strong things need a place to stay. जो सूक्ष्म होते हैं वो एक जगह नहीं रहते. They were anilayane. That's the last word. ठीक है नहीं? So yasmad ananatmyam tasmad aniruktam. Vishesho hi niruchyate. Anything which is specified alone can be defined. Then visheshaha cha vikaraha. Anything specific is modifiable. Avikarancha Brahma. Brahman is non-modifiable. And he is sarva vikara hetutvatu. He is in whose presence all other vikaras happen. Tasmat, therefore, aniruktam, he cannot be spoken about. So, which is Vishaya, which is Vikara, that is alone niruktam, speakable. Speakable. That which is Vishaya nahi hai, or Avishay hai, means Avikari hai, which is subject hai, which is very subtle hai, it cannot be talked about in this way or that way. Niruktam is definitely speaking. Nischayena uktam. ये ऐसा है ऐसा है ऐसा है कह पाना. We talk about the specified objective things with the words as this is like this, like this. See, this is red color, this is blue color. In fact, these red and blue colors are given by us to them. In the color, this redness and blueness is not there, the words. In the words, there is no color. This is what our Yoga Darshanam we were studying. Again, all the three things. Shabda, Artha, Jnana, Sankirna, Samapatti. But somehow universally accepted that ऐसा है तो लाल, ऐसा है तो काला, ऐसा माना है इसलिए these words that colors or objects have relation. Otherwise, generally they don't have relation. That is not at all a relevant topic here. And by the way, I'm saying. So here, coming to the point here, anything which is objective, which is of these colors or the forms, can be defined or niruktam or talked about. But this Paramatma is adrushya hai, anatmya hai, therefore anirukta hai. He cannot be spoken about as. Because the pure self, it is not like any of the objects of the world, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Sagandhadi, therefore it cannot be spoken about. Niruktam, that is the meaning. Then the sequence of sentences, ki, again I'll read for you. Yasmad adrusyam tasmad anatmyam. Because this is adrushya vastu hai, therefore it is anatmya hai. Yasmad anatmyam tasmad aniruktam. Because it is not a stula shariradi, therefore you cannot be defining it. Vishesho hi niruchyate. Anything which has some specifications can be defined. Then visheshaha cha vikaraha. And anything which is specific defined is modifiable also. Brahma is avikara. When Brahman is avikara, not vikaravan, therefore it is non-specific, non-modifiable, therefore non-explicable, therefore aniruktam. Correction of the words. Aniruktam. No, yataha eva tasmat anilayanam. Because aniruktam, he cannot be defined anyway. He is so subtle, etc. Therefore, anilayanam. So, nilayanam means nidaha, ashrayaha, a support for it to stay. If the support is taken away, it will fall or it will dwindle or it will be dissolving. परब्रह्म का ऐसा कोई निलयनम नीड़ा नहीं है. सो निलयनम नीड़ा आश्रयम, न निलयनम अनिलयनम अनाधारम. So Nilayanam, Needam, Adharam is not required for Brahman. So Anilayanam, Niradharam. Aniruktam cannot be spoken as this or that. Anatmyam, which is not stula. Adrishyam, which is not an object. So that which is not the object means subject. That which is not stula means absolutely sukshma. That which is non-speakable means you can't define it. Then that which is so subtle, therefore it has no abode. That means no support for it is required. Therefore, because it has no support required for it, remember, this becomes support for everything. Because it doesn't become the thing for the explanation, because of which all the descriptions, explanations happen. Because it's not this object, it's a subject. In his presence only all the objects are seen. He is not stula, in his presence stula appears. When we see the stula adi in the world outside, in the utthana sthiti, when we are not in meditation. In the deep meditation, all these we transcend. We are into that really adrushya anatma nirukta anilayana brahma. So yataha eva tasmad anilayanam. Nilayanam nidaha means ashrayaha. Na nilayanam means anilayanam means anadharam. So these are the four very important lakshanas of Brahma. Adrushya, it is not a drushya vastu, it is not a vikari, therefore it is not other than you. Avishaya vastu is not vishaya, it is vishayi. Anatma means not a sthula shariradi. Then anirukta means it cannot be defined. Anilena means it has no adhara. It is the adhara for everything. This is the only way that Brahman is reached. And any of the discussion we do about Nilayanam, Drishyam, okay, Niruktam, then we have fallen to the level of worldliness. We have forgotten the Brahman. ब्रह्म का ऐसा ही बोलना पड़ता है, यही ब्रह्म है. These are the Brahma Swarupa Lakshanas. After that now yes, no yada hi eva etasmin adrushye anatme anirukte anilene eshaha. Up to this visa. Then what is the next sentence in the mantra? Ki abhayam pratishtam vindate atha sa abhayam gata bhavati. So when he gets abhaya pratishtha in the Brahman, which has got these lakshanas, then he will become fearless. That is the main discussion going on. So yada abhayam pratishtam vindate in this Brahman, abhayam gataha bhavati, he becomes fearless. What is the meaning of in this Brahman, which is anirukta, anilena, anatma, adrushya? What is the meaning of in this Brahman? Finding that abhayam pratishtha, Shankara Bhagavan says here. Tasmin etasmin adrushye anatme anirukte anilene means sarva karya dharma vilakshane brahmani. That Brahman which has got none of the karya dharma. Brahman is karana. These are all karya. Karya dharmas are the drishyatva, vikaritva, nilayanatva, niruktatva. They are all the lakshanas of the karya or the effect. Brahman being the karana, the cause, he will not have the lakshana of the effect in him. Therefore, he is called adrushya anatma anirukta anilayana. So, etasmin adrushya anatme anirukte anilayane means sarva karya dharma vilakshane. Brahmani iti vakyartaha in this Brahman. In this Brahman. In this Brahman, what we have to do, what we have to see, ki abhayam iti kriya visheshanam. Abhayam is not the literal meaning to be taken. Abhayam is a kriya visheshanam. It, though word is nominative, it talks about a kriya. What is the kriya visheshanam? Ki abhayam iti va lingantaram parinamyate. See, abhayam, we have to understand because we are talking about the pratishtha, the feminine word. Okay, abhayam pratishtham vindate. So you have to say it's a kriya pada, therefore abhayam, you have to add. Grammatically, it is Vedic Chandasam, Dairyam. Now, the most important word to be understood here is Pratishtha. If that is understood, the thing is clear. He says Pratishtha means Sthitim. Means what? Next word is very important. Atma Bhavam. Vindate means Lavate. So therefore, Yada means Yasmin Kale, whenever. Esha means this Sadhaka. Etasmin means on this Brahman or in this Brahman. Which Brahman? Anirukta, Anilayana, then Adrushya, Anatmya. Therefore, sarva vikara dharma vivarjita. Anatma dharma vivarjita. That's what the word used. Sarva karya dharma vilakshana. कार्य के धर्म से विलक्षण इस ब्रह्म में अभयम प्रतिष्ठाम विंदते. दिस वर्ड नाउ आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग. इट इज अभयाम प्रतिष्ठाम. वी हैव टू स्टडी इट एज. तो अभयाम प्रतिष्ठाम विंदते. व्हाट इज अभया प्रतिष्ठा? प्रतिष्ठा एक्चुअली मीन्स स्थिति, है ना. ये प्रतिष्ठित हो गया मतलब स्थित हो गया. Now, when do you get the sthiti and what you should understand as sthiti in this context? Atma bhavam. Therefore, abhayam pratishtam vindate means what? In this Brahman with these four lakshanas, we have to find the Atma bhavam, if at all it is found. Here, abhayam pratishtam means oneness with that Brahman, which is defined with these four words explained. यदा हि एव एषः साधकः यू एंड आई एतस्मिन् ब्रह्मणि इन दिस ब्रह्मन् अदृश्य अनात्म अनिरुक्त अनिलयन इन दैट ब्रह्मन् अभय प्रतिष्ठां विन्दते इज इक्वल टू अभयां प्रतिष्ठां विन्दते इज इक्वल टू स्थितपदं लभते. स्थितिपदम् इज इक्वल टू आत्मस्थं भवति. आत्मभावं विन्दते लभते. when he gets the atmabhava with this brahman with these four lakshanas, atha means mangalavachakam. Atha means tada, at that time saha, that particular sadhaka, tasmin in that brahman nanatvasya bhayahetoho avidyakrutasya adarshanath. सो अविद्या से बना हुआ नानात्व के कारण होने वाला भय नहीं रहने के कारण अभयंगतः भवति. ही बिकम्स फियरलेस. Now, technically, we are studying it. Be very attentive, careful about it. If you miss this now, everything is missed. If you catch it very crucially, very subtly, very deeply, then our study of Shastra becoming beautiful. We have told it again from the standpoint of the Lakshana of the Brahman. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma hai. In those Lakshanas only there is fearlessness. Anything not Satyam is Asatyam, is perishable. The fear of perishability will come. Anything which is not Jnanam or Jnapti, it is ignorance. Ignorance always gives misery. Everything which is not Anantam, which is Antaman, that Antaman will give the fear of Antam. Therefore, if you have to have the fearlessness should be from the death, deception, and misery, and that will happen only in the discovery of Brahman, who is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So, this is what is the literal meaning. So, the last line is what? Abhaya Pratishtam Vindate. So, Abhayam Pratishtam. Pratishtam means Sthiti. Sthiti Padam means Atma Bhavam Vindate. Atma Labham Atma Bhavam Vindate. When he gets that oneness with him. क्या हुआ उसके साथ आत्मभाव होने के बाद था तदा सह तस्मिन् नानात्वस्य भयहेतोः अविद्याकृतस्य अदर्शनात्. Now very careful. It is the ignorance of Brahman because of which the nanatva is produced or imagined. From there only the bhaya comes, from the anatma or this the otherness, anything which is other than me. But the beauty is what? The Brahman being all pervading, one without second. I, the sadhaka, when I merge myself in him, I find myself to be one without second. Everything I find as my own self. Therefore, is there any sense of separation or difference or otherness? No. Then all the fears are because of sense of otherness or duality. No, sense of duality is not there, then where is the fear? Atat saha abhayangatah bhavati. He will be fearless. So there are two levels of the explanation in this particular portion. First portion talked about the existence of Brahman. How? By the logic. What logic? Ki from the absence or in the absence of something, one cannot have fearlessness. Jnanis are getting fearless. They are in the Brahma Jnana. Therefore, their fearlessness is because of Brahman. Then the Ajnanis are also frightened. Their fear also because they are Ajnani, they have not seen the Brahman. That is what is the main meaning of the first portion of this mantra. उसका explanation के दौरान we are told these step by step sequential explanations. कि यदा whenever एषः this sadhakah etasmin in this Brahman which has got the lakshanas of adrishyam, That means which is not an object, which is not a vikari. Therefore, it is a subject and the avikari. Then anatmyam, that which is not sthula, therefore doesn't come under perception and any destruction. Then aniruktam, therefore which cannot be spoken. Anilayanam, which has got no abode or support for it to require, not required. In this Brahman, avayam pratishtam vindate, means when he finds the Atma Bhava with that Brahman, what will happen? With this Brahman, when the Atma Bhava is gained, Brahman being all pervading, and with that I am there, one as one. Other than me, there is nothing. Because the one all pervading Brahman is Vidya, knowing him to be so. Not knowing that Brahman all pervading one without second is called avidya. From the avidya only, the two are born. Avidya krutasya nanatvasya. Two, nana means two or many. Only in the ignorance of one without second Brahman, the manyness has imagined. That manyness is the cause of the bhayam. So what is the dukkha or samsara? It is bhayam. Where from the bhaya is coming? From nanatvam. Where from the nanatvam coming? Avidya. Avidya what? Brahman. Brahman is one without second. Therefore, that Brahman which is one without second, when we identify with him, there is nothing other than me, about which seeing I have to be frightened. Therefore, there is no fear at all. यदा हि एव एतस्मिन् अदृश्ये अनात्मे अनिरुक्ते अनिलयने अभयप्रतिष्ठां विन्दते अतः सो अभयङ्गतः भवति. This is 50%. The one who doesn't see the identity with the self, what will happen? It will be told in the next line. But ये वाला थोड़ा logically समझ में आए कि नहीं? We have to understand the Brahma Lakshanas. We have to understand when we become one with that Brahman, what is the consequence. Because of that consequence, the next consequence of fearlessness, which is the theme of the subject, the Upanishad at this particular level. And a person is mukta, still is frightened, is not mukta only. Therefore, the fearlessness also is a sign of moksha. Therefore, fearlessness should be considered as an expression of mukta purusha. That particular topic, which is not taken everywhere for discussion, here it is taken in Chandogya Pradharani also, little is taken. Atma means fearless. Brahma means fearlessness. So, when the avidya is replaced by vidya, vidya of the Brahman, and I discovered that Brahman as myself, Brahman being infinite, one without second, when there is no nanatvam, then where will be the fear from? Remember this three. Avidya is equal to nanatvam is equal to bhayam. Vidya is equal to ekatvam is equal to abhayam. Vidya of whom? Brahman. Brahman is one without second. Therefore, with that one without second Brahman, when I maintain oneness, I am also finding myself as one without second. Then there is no second nanatvam. Therefore, there is no fear, the bhayam. Avayangataha bhavati. Therefore, at that level, he is fearless. See that explanation in Bhagavatam, if you listen. What did Bhagavan Sukadevji told Parikshit? The last 3-4 slokas. See, Atmanaha anyat na pashyasi. Do you remember the sentence? You will not see all those things as other than you. You will see all of them as you only. What are the things? Remember that sloka? Uh, Dashantam takshakam pade lelihanam vishananaihi swatmanam cha shariram cha na drushyasi prutag atmanaha deham cha. See? अपने देह को, देह के अपने पाँव को, तक्षक को, तक्षक के जो फैंग्स है उसको, और उसके अंदर वाला पॉइजन को, और पॉइजन को बाइट, हमको पाँव को बाइट करके उसमें डालते हैं ना, उसको भी नन इन विश्वम चा, इवन द होल विश्वम आत्मना पृथक न पश्यसि. You will not see them as other than you. If in the Brahman which I taught you, if you enter in your identity, wonderful was that Bhagavata topic. Same is here said. In other way, if you see, Brahman being one without second is birthless, changeless, modificationless, decayless, deathless. And all our fears are because of these things only. है कि नहीं? That which is born will be born or not, fear. Then the fear of changes, what sort of changes will happen. Then fear of, the modifications. Finally, the fear of the death. उस तरह से भी हम देख सकते हैं, इन द डिस्कवरी ऑफ ब्रह्मन अलोन देर इज नो फियर. Fear is equal to samsara. A person with fear cannot have food also even properly. We are all frightened all the time. बस काम चलाओ, टाइम चला रहे हम. लुक इनटू योर ओन हार्ट, ऑलवेज फियर. एक न एक चीज का फियर होता ही रहता है. ऑल दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ तादात्म्य अनात्मा. Anatma, whether you are frightened or not, it is perishable and it will definitely give the dukkha while perishing. But the Brahman is imperishable. When we identify with him, even if you want the changeability, birth to death to perishability will never happen. Therefore, you can never imagine to have fear there in it. Hmm. Therefore, what is the hint here? Hint is two ways. All your samsara is because you maintaining difference or distance with your own self Brahman. Point one. Point two, therefore, you want to transcend total samsara. The biggest of that called as bhayam, which leads to all dukkha, only is what? Find your oneness with this Brahman, who is adrushya anatmya anirukta anilayana. यदा हि एव एतस्मिन् अदृश्ये अनात्म्ये अनिरुक्ते अनिलेने अभयं प्रतिष्ठां विन्दते अतः सो अभयं गतः भवति. He will be fearlessness. Now the second aspect opposite of it, दूसरा वाला कि स्वरूप प्रतिष्ठो ही असो यदा भवति तदा न अन्यत् पश्यति अन्यत् शृणोति न अन्यत् विजानाति अन्यस्य हि अन्यतः भवति न आत्मनेश आत्मनो युक्तं तस्मात्मनात्मनो अभयकरं सर्वतो निर्भयं ब्राह्मणः दुष्यन्ते तस्मै हेतुम् इज ऑल द छांदोग्य बृहदारण्य का लेकर भगवान भाष्यकार explains little more exhaustively, knowing the importance of the subject. Before entering into the second topic, where if you maintain distance with your own self Brahman, you will definitely have fear is equal to dukkha is equal to samsara. Same thing, Abhaya Pratishtha ko, taking the help of other Upanishadic mantra, Bhashyakara is explaining very logically, very beautifully. Tomorrow we need the whole day to study it. When the time is remaining, then we can conclude this particular Anuvaka. Because only two lines are there. एदा हि एव एषः एतस्मिन् उतारम् अन्तरं कुरुते अथ तस्य भयं भवति तत्तु एव वयं विदुषामन्वानस्य तदपि एष श्लोकः भवति. देन द होल समरी ऑफ दिस सेवंथ अनुवाक एक बार हम थोड़ा जिस्ट देखेंगे. क्लियर? लाइक दिस एवरी अनुवाका जिस्ट आल्सो समटाइम विल सी इफ इट कैन बी गिवन अगेन फॉर अ रिफ्रेशिंग कोर्स. लेट अस डू इट. क्या है, पढ़ी रहे हैं तो वो भी करेंगे. Today we'll stop here. Tomorrow the second portion we'll see, followed by the conclusion of this seventh Anuvakam. Eighth Anuvakam, beautiful, is a quotation from the Rigveda mantra in which that important thing. Bhishasmad vata bhavate, Bhishodeti suryaha, Bhishasmad agnishendrascha, Mrutirudhavati pancamaha, then sa esha anandasya mimamsa bhavati. Then the Ananda Mimamsa is given. In that hierarchy, Ananda of the Manushya, 100 times is Manushya Gandharva, Deva Gandharva and all. Ultimately, the Prajapati Ananda is such a greatest one. 100 times greater than Prajapati Ananda is Brahmanaha Ananda. And who will get that Ananda? Shrotriyasya cha Akamahatasya. The one who is Shrotriya and Akamahata. This is what yesterday we saw in Raja Muchukunda's life. He says, ki, O Lord, Visurjya Ashishaha, giving up all the kamanas, Nirgunam, Niranjanam, Advayam, Brahma, which is your own Swarupa, Gnapti Matram, Saranam Vrajami. I want to enter into that. वो वाला ये वाला रिलेट करो तो बढ़िया है. सो दैट आनंद मीमांसा हमको बताकर ब्रह्मा आनंद बताते हुए वो श्रोत्रिय और अकामहत ही उसको पाएगा, ऐसा हमको बताएंगे. So in this seventh that I spoke to you now is about eighth Anuvaka. But in the seventh Anuvaka, so many ways the existence of Paramatma is proved. Toward the end, identifying that Brahman is fearlessness, maintain even little gap with him causes the fear. अब कुछ भी करो, I am not Brahman. पकड़ो, we are in samsara of bhaya and everything else. The moment we realize, recognize our Avaya Pratishtha with Brahman, one without second, Avaya Pratishtha, there is nobody who can dare to frighten us. Nothing can frighten us. And the human acme or perfection is in living life of fearlessness. What is there to fear? I am that Brahman. Om, 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 Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Paramarshibhyo Namaha Parabrahmane Namaha Smritimatre Namaha Smritimatre Namaha Om Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu. Thank you, friends. One text we could do today by God's grace.